Welcome, this is the Modules 2 test review. This time, this is part 2. I will be covering questions 5, 6, 7, and 8. Alright, we're going to display question 5 now. Question 5, it says a forest fire starts, and the fire chief noticed that the fire area starts with 20 acres. As the time goes on, the fire grows by a factor of 2 every hour. Assuming the relationship between the hours and the acres of fires are continuous, which of the following factors describe the relationship? F of 0 equals to 20 because it is the starting of the fire, and R equals to 2. But wait, some of you are going to argue, wait, it says it's growing 2 every hour. So shouldn't that be a common difference? Right? Isn't it just plus 2 every hour? No. Look at the key word of factor, right? Factor is referred to as multiplication. Like, what is the factor of 6? It's 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. Factor, in other words, scale factor is a multiplication. Multiplication in this sense is what you're multiplying, which is the common ratio. So in our sense, right, it starts with 20 acres and it grows by a factor of 2. So the next one would be 40. After that, it would be 80. Then it would be 160, right? It's growing by a factor of 2. It's multiplying by 2. That refers to as exponential. So we can write this in terms of the exponential function. So I use the 0 term here because I have the starting with 20 acres. Plug in the 20 here for the f of 0, plug in 2 here for the r, and I get the answer. F of x is equal to 20, 2 to the x power. Notice, this is only tricky if you do not understand the idea of the factor. This is an exponential, not linear. Next, we have question 6. It says a relationship is shown between the numbers of students on doing homework and the number of problems that are getting done. Okay, it looks like it's going for one student it is 4 problems, 2 it's 8, 3 is 12, 4 is 16. Looks like this is increasing 4 each time, right? There's a common difference of 4 problems done for every single one student. Because there is a common difference, I would say yes, it is D, a sequence. And the sequence is arithmetic. It is arithmetic because there is a common difference. It is a sequence because it is continuing 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have question 7 now. It's a multiple choice question. Here, it looks like an exponential function is given, and it asks which statement correctly interprets this model. All 4 answers are referring to by its growth rate. So let's look at this. All the answers is asking for the growth rate. Remember, the growth rate in this sense, because the house is growing in value, right, would be R equals to 1 plus the decimal. Notice it's 1.05 is the growth value right here, right? 1.05 there. So I plug that in for the R because that is what the R is when you write the equation. 1.05. That equals to 1 plus that decimal, right? To get the decimal alone, you subtract 1 to both sides. So in decimal form, it is equal to 0.05. To get into percentage, you multiply by 100 or move the decimal over 2 times to the right. I notice that the growth factor here is 5%. So the answer should be B right here. The value of the house is increasing by 5% each year. Let's look at question 8 now. Richard buys a new laptop at $1,800. The laptop depreciates in value by 8%. You're going to write an exponential model to represent the situation. So here I saw that the new laptop is the 0 term for the new laptop, right? Nothing has happened yet. It's depreciating, which means it's a decay. When it's a decay, it's going to be 1 minus something. In this sense, it's 8%. The 8% in decimal form is 0.08. So R is equal to 0.92. How did I get R equals to 0.92? It comes from 1 minus 0.08, right? So I write my original equation, y equals to f of 0, r to the x power for the 0 term for the exponential equation, right? Substitute that in, it gets me y equals 1800 parentheses 0.92 to the x power. There you go. Those are all the those are all the review solutions for part 2, which is 5, 6, 7, and 8.